Let me ask you something. Do you think that Marco Rubio actually fights for conservative ideals? Do you think that he actually stands for America? Do you think that he wants what's best for us? Well, if you answered yes to any of that, let me explain some things to you in this next episode of The Wise Conservative. I'm Connor Wise. Let's dive right into this. So, Marco Rubio has missed 30% of his votes in the Senate. He claims it's because he's off campaigning for president. Yet, there's other people who are campaigning for president who have only missed 1%. This, of course, is Senator Rand Paul, and I believe Senator Bernie Sanders has only missed about 2% of his votes. So we can see that because he's missing these votes, it's not just because he's off campaigning. He's doing it because he doesn't care about the Senate. He doesn't care about making America greater. And we can see that he actually doesn't stand for these conservative ideals that he runs on. I mean, he was a part of the Gang of Eight, Chuck Schumer's amnesty bill. He was one of the biggest supporters of it. He still supports it. Anytime it's brought up, it's not him denying that he supports it. It's him changing the subject because he knows it's not a true conservative ideal. He knows that he doesn't actually stand for what conservatives stand for. And this is just one of the many reasons on why I think his foreign policy, his border policy, is a failed plan. He will not be able to get done what America needs done in 2016. He will not be able to keep America safe from terrorists. He will not be able to keep us safe from every single threat that is posed against us. And there's many reasons for this. But let's just start off in the Senate, as I have touched on already, on why he isn't even fit for his job as a senator. As I have stated before, he's missed 30% of the votes in this past year, 2015. Now, that's a lot of votes, guys. 30% of them. Now, other senators, they go to just about every single vote. But 30% of the votes he misses. He's getting paid $174,000 a year to miss 30% of his job. Now, I don't know about you, but if a normal American went to his job, he missed 30% of the days of it, he wouldn't be getting paid anymore. He would be fired. He would have failed to have done his job as that worker. And Marco Rubio has failed to do his job as a U.S. Senator. His one job is to show up and vote. His one job is to make sure that these laws, these bills are passed or vetoed because they don't need to be passed. But he can't even do that because he is not there most of the time. 30% of votes, he's not there. How is he able to stand up for conservative ideals if he's not even in the Senate to defend them? And that brings me up to this most recent $1.1 trillion omnibus budget. He claimed that he would be one of the strongest fighters against that in the Senate. He campaigned on it. He went city to city telling his supporters that he was going to fight against that bill, that he was going to stand up there, he was going to filibuster, he was going to tell the Senate why we should not pass it. Well, guess what? He never showed up. He never showed up to fight this horrible bill that was passed in astounding numbers. He wasn't there to fight it when other presidential candidates were there. Senator Rand Paul was there. Other senators who are in the race were there. Senators such as Ted Cruz, senators such as Bernie Sanders. But where in the world was Marco Rubio? See, that's the thing. He doesn't care about his current job. How could he care about being president of the United States? One of the highest honors in the civilized world. Yet, he can't even do his lower job right now. He can't even be a U.S. senator. How can we expect him to lead our country if he can't even lead us through Senate? Now, he campaigned on this strategy of having a great foreign policy, having a strong foreign policy against ISIS, against immigration. He claims that he has a strong foreign policy. Yeah, we can see through his Gang of Eight bill, he supports amnesty. That's not conservative. He supports a no-fly zone in Syria. That's not going to work. What does he actually support that will work? Well, quite honestly, he doesn't support much that will work. He is not that fundamental conservative that so many people think he is. Even at the debates, he doesn't answer questions with conservative answers. He answers them with one story. He gets asked something about immigration. Well, he's going to bring up how his family immigrated here. He gets asked something about ISIS. He's still going to bring up that story of how his family immigrated to the U.S. He is dependent on one story, and somehow it's gotten him a lot of votes. America, we need to look at this and we need to realize that Senator Marco Rubio doesn't actually stand for conservative ideals. And I mean, how could we even know what he stands for, though, when he's gone 30% of the time? He does not actually stand for these ideals. He backs bills that are some of the biggest Democratic-backed bills in the world. He backed the Gang of Eight bill. He backed a bunch of debt increases, the debt ceiling. Him and countless other Republicans who are not real Republicans are fighting for this great position. And it's a sad thing that America accepts it as normal. You see, in 2016, this year, we have to elect a president that is a true conservative. We have to elect a president that will keep our country on the right track. That's not going to get done with someone like Marco Rubio. He supports a no-fly zone in Syria. A no-fly zone that will end up in World War III. Let me explain that. So we have a no-fly zone in Syria. That's great. No one can fly there. But let's think about this. ISIS does not have any aircraft. Who does? Russia. Russia is the only other people that are flying in Syria. They are the only other people that could possibly fly into that no-fly zone. You know who we don't want to start a war with? Who we don't want to shoot down their planes? Russia. They have one of the largest militaries in the world. Of course, it's not as large as ours, but why would we want to get into a war with another great superpower? Another superpower that has many allies. Another superpower that could start World War III. And that's why anyone who supports a no-fly zone does not actually support anything that America needs. Now, on immigration, he does not actually support a conservative view of immigration. He doesn't want that conservative view, deport all the illegals. We don't need illegals here because they are here illegally. Let them come here legally. No. Instead, he's going to let all these illegals off the hook. He's going to give them free citizenship because they tried, because they came over the border even though they didn't go legally. He thinks that they tried, and that's all that matters. He supported one of the biggest amnesty bills in our history. He still supports it. Ask him a question about it. He supports amnesty, and that is not conservative. Why should we let all these illegals off the hook when they came here? They broke a crime. By definition, they are criminals. Yet Marco Rubio and the rest of the liberals don't seem to realize that, and this is exactly why Marco Rubio is one of the worst choices for president in 2016. Now, he cannot even show up to Senate. He cannot support the right policies to actually be a true conservative. So, I'm speaking to you now, Senator Marco Rubio. Are you an actual conservative? Do you actually stand for what Republicans founded this party on? Do you actually stand what our country was founded on? Because quite honestly, it looks like you don't. It looks like you don't care about America. It looks like you don't care about the people. It looks like you don't care about conservative ideals. Because you're in Senate, but you're missing 30% of the votes. People elected you. They wanted you to stand up for what is right. But you can't even do that. You take vacation. You go to a new state. You go to a new country. People elected you for a reason, Senator. And you have betrayed them. And then, even when you do show up, you support bills like the Gang of Eight amnesty bill. How could you ever support a bill like that if you're a conservative? The answer is you can't. And this is exactly why Marco Rubio is not a real conservative, exactly why we cannot elect him. Now, I know a lot of people actually do support Marco Rubio. And of course, I do not agree with them. I think he is a horrible option. There are much better options who have more support, such as Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz would be a much better option than this horrible senator named Marco Rubio. Ted Cruz, while he does not have the best Senate attendance, he has a way better attendance than Marco Rubio. While he does actually support strong immigration reform, he supports kicking out those illegals. He stands for actual conservative ideals, things that Marco Rubio doesn't stand for. Now, Ted Cruz actually has a chance of winning this. Of course, Donald Trump is way ahead. He's at 43%. But if we stand behind a true conservative, we will win in 2016. We will win the presidency for the next 4 years, the next 8 years. And America will know that we elected the right person. But we have to get behind someone that is a real conservative. Someone who actually stands for what we want. Someone who stands for what is best for America. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not Marco Rubio. He has proven time after time that he is not what we need, that he is not what we want. So anyone who supports Marco Rubio, please rethink your vote, because he is not the conservative that he says he is. He is not the Republican that he says he is. He is a man that lies blatantly to your face. He supports the same foreign policy as Hillary Clinton, that no-fly zone. How can we elect someone who has the same foreign policy as one of the worst politicians in history? The fact of the matter is, we can't. So I ask you all to take a moment and look back at what Marco Rubio has actually done to earn your vote. He hasn't. He hasn't done anything that is conservative worthy. So please take a moment to think about this. And please take a moment to think about who is the best choice for America. Thank you.